You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Bold and the Beautiful fans. It's Soap Dirt on YouTube. Today we want to talk about 3 characters that Bold and the Beautiful should have left dead. We've got 3 people that died. A couple of them maybe have died more than once over the years. And so actually, I think all 3 of these have died more than once. Quote, died. I'm putting died in quotation marks, obviously, because they're alive well. And all 3 are currently on Bold and the Beautiful. But we want to talk about what happened if Bold had left them dead and why maybe they should have been left dead. Let's dig in. All right, if you haven't already, please reach down, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, casting news, and special features videos like this one today. All right, the first one is pretty obvious, but we have to say it. Sheila Carter. Wouldn't it be great if Sheila Carter had never come back from the dead? Let's dig into this. Sheila actually wasn't killed off on Bold and the Beautiful, if you don't remember this. Remember, she spent time on both Bold and the Beautiful and on Young the Restless, and she was actually over on Y&R. And in 2007, she was shot by Lauren Fenmore after she had kidnapped Phyllis and Summer Newman, played by Michelle Stafford and Hunter King. So she was dead, but then 10 years later, in 2017, psychotic Sheila showed back up in LA on Bold. And that was the first time she came back. And she was trying to set up Quinn to look like a crazy person. And if I recall correctly, she was trying to actually steal Eric Forrester from her. And then that was like coming back from the one death. And of course, you'll remember that she also tried to fake her own death with that whole random toe and bear attack. But if she had never come back in 2017 and continued her reign of terror, then she wouldn't have shot Finn. She wouldn't have shot Steffi. And of course, Finn almost died. She wreaked havoc, and it turned into this whole thing where Ridge and Bill had to set her up to get rid of her. But imagine how great it would be if Sheila had stayed dead. All right, this next one is probably going to be a little controversial for y'all, but hear me out. Let's talk about it. What if Bold had left Ridge Forrester dead? Let's talk about this. So Ridge fell into a fire once. That was back in the Ron Moss days, and he came out looking barely charred like 3 days later. So he wasn't dead for very long that time, but he was dead for a little longer the next time. That was the time that Ridge was shoved out of the helicopter by Justin Barber, who of course back then was best friends with Bill Spencer and was trying to do Dollar Bill a solid by shoving his rival out of a helicopter. And he came back to, I think it was like, I don't know, a week later, something like that. And then of course there was another gap where he just kind of wandered away. That was between the recast before they brought in Thorsten Kaye, but he wasn't dead that time. But the last time that he supposedly died was shoved out of that helicopter. Imagine if Ridge had stayed dead, if he had fallen into the Persian Gulf and had gotten eaten by whatever is swimming around over there. Do they have sharks? I think all oceans have sharks. Sure, there should be a shark there. All right. Imagine that. There would have been no more Taylor Brooke nonsense waffling. There wouldn't have been the whole thing with him trying to convince Caroline Spencer to steal Thomas's son Douglas and lie and say that he was their son instead. There would be, none of the cheating with 2 of his dad's wives. He slept with Brooke when she was with his dad. And he also had kind of a kissing flirtmance cheating thing with Quinn while she was with Eric. And just imagine for a second a Bold without Ridge. You'd never have to hear the word destiny again. Just not having to hear the word destiny. And I'm not a cynic. I just feel like it's being shoved down our throats at this point. But imagine what a different world it would be if Taylor and Brooke didn't need that pact because Ridge was a skeleton at the bottom of the Persian Gulf and they had both moved on with other people. All right, the last one I have about people they should have left dead. Again, this is going to be controversial. It's going to upset probably half our listeners, but we're just speculating here. Like, just what if Bold had left them dead? And that's Taylor Hayes. All right, let's talk about what if Taylor was left dead. In 1994, back then it was Hunter Tylo. Taylor died in a plane crash. But actually, Prince Omar of Morocco had saved her. She had amnesia. She ended up coming back to LA. and got with Ridge again, and it started everything. So then 8 years later in 2002, Taylor Hayes died again. That was when Sheila Carter had shot her. This is before she went over to Y&R, and Sheila got, quote, soap killed over there. Okay. And that was this great poignant scene. Ridge held her as Taylor breathed her final breath. But then 3 years later, she popped back up again, and it was again with Prince Omar. So imagine if she hadn't popped back up in 2005. What if there was no Taylor for the past, 2005, 18 years? Yeah, 18 years of no Taylor. That would be no big fights with Brooke, no cake mashing, no mudslinging, no paint wars. That would be no CPS call so that Thomas could try to matchmake her with his dad. That means, none of the abrupt, that wedding they tried to scheme. And if Taylor was dead, then she wouldn't have given Thomas that obviously mediocre therapy where he said he changed, but he really didn't, and then wound up trying to hook up with a doll that looked like Hope Logan. So what do you think about this list? We want to hear your comments. Hey, if you haven't already, reach down, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, casting news, and fun little videos like this one. Let us know if Bold had left any of these people dead. Who would you want it to be? Sheila Carter, Ridge Forrester, or Taylor Hayes? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, this is all in fun.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.